right, let's move on and let's get connected with our viewers. A very special segment of our question, answer, and viewer queries. I have with me Anil Rego, founder CEO of Right Horizon. Anil, hi, good evening, and welcome to the show. Before I take up any query, let's just flash our WhatsApp number and email ID where viewers can send across their questions. WhatsApp number is 865-797-4571, and the email ID is themoneyshow@etnow.tv. Anil, hi. Let's begin with Anuj's question. This question is by email, and some of his funds have been underperforming for a long time, and for that he wants you to review and suggest if he can stop his SIP and maybe look at other alternatives. Time horizon is long term, but he also wants to know if any percentage allocation needs to be done. So the funds are Nippon India Large Cap, Parag Parikh Flexi Cap, Kotak Emerging Equity, Canara Robeco Small Cap, SBI Contra Fund.
Yeah, so I think he does have a number of funds there, right from, say, Nippon India Large Cap Fund, the Parag Parikh, Kotak Emerging Equity, and also Canara Robeco Small Cap and SBI Contra. So he has a reasonable fund mix out there, so it's reasonably good. Yes, so some of the underperformance is coming also to because of mid and small cap sort of correcting, and you'll find that both the small cap of Canara Robeco and Kotak Emerging Equity to the extent also is a little lower there, okay, and giving negative alpha. But I think at this point the negative alpha is slightly larger in Canara Robeco small cap fund. So I would think that that is something that he could look to exit and possibly move to Nippon India Small Cap Fund, where it has a reasonable, positive alpha out there. So I think that is a small rejig that he can do to his portfolio.
Let's take Meghna's question, and she says that she's a primary school teacher, and okay, she's got a couple of funds. She's been investing since Feb 24, and so she's got Parag Parikh Flexi Cap, ICICI Blue Chip, SBI Contra. She's got Kotak Emerging Equity also. She also has a strategy where she's stepping up her investment in these funds. So Parag Parikh Flexi Cap is 10% step up. Blue Chip ICICI is 10% step up. SBI Contra 10% step up. Kotak Emerging Equities 5% step up. Motilal Oswal Mid Cap 5% step up. Tata Small Cap again 5% step up. Motilal Oswal Micro Cap, Nippon Nifty 500 M150 Index, and Kotak Gold Fund also 5% step up. So total 8 equity mutual funds, and the ratio is 50% equity large cap and 50% mid and small cap. She wants to invest for almost 22 years till her retirement, and she'll be stepping up 10% in on her large caps and almost 5% in her mid caps is what she's planned for herself. She wants to start aggressively. The ratio to settle on with will be 60:40, and allocation in large and mid in almost 7 to 8 years, with more step up in large caps, and then sail through remaining 12 years period smoothly is what her plan is. Okay, a very long question, but then given the kind of details and the targets, she's a government employee. Monthly NPS contribution is also going to around 21,000 at present. The corpus is 17 lakhs, and she's got few LIC policy also that costs 7,000 per month. And where can she land in terms of her corpus in 20 years, and if the schemes fine for her or not, and fund specific query also she has, because she thinks Parag Parikh Flexi Cap, ICICI Blue Chip, SBI Contra are safe, so she's okay with that. But then she has a query with Momentum 50 fund and even a micro cap fund in her portfolio. Okay, we can take it one by one. Anil.
Oh, yeah, first of all, let me talk about the portfolio that she has. And yes, so in fact, our view also is there are a couple of funds that she has in terms of the, Motilal Oswal Nifty micro cap, as well as, the Nippon Nifty 500 Momentum 50, right? So I think both of these funds, are in some form higher risk funds. And, I think it's best to avoid it now. Yeah, I'm also looking at it from the larger perspective of the number of funds she has, right? So it's important to reduce those number of funds, and in line with that, possibly, also look at, Kotak emerging equity also as an exit. So broadly, have looked at, all funds which have negative alpha to sort of, exit out there. And so coming back to, what is the view? One would rather have it within the same existing funds itself, right? So from that standpoint, I'm saying, Parag Parik Flexi Cap, maybe she can have about 8,000. ICICI Pru Blue Chip around, 7,000, and SBI Contra 4,000. On the mid cap side, maybe a Motilal Oswal mid cap at about 7,000 rupees. And we are looking at that, because she's also looking at the long term perspective. And 22 years is a good time. And also, Tata Small Cap Fund another 5,000, and Kotak Gold 3,000 is, in some form to be maintained. So this is what I would suggest in terms of a bit of a rejig of the portfolio. And because having too many funds is also not going to help her. Over diversification is not, going to add any value for you, including it will not help you reduce risk. Okay, so now coming back to at the end of 22 years, what will the value come to? Yes, the value will come to 8.5 crores, okay, assuming a 12% type of a return. And so if there is something that is there, I think it should be able to also take care of her retirement. And yes, her step ups are actually helping her also achieve the goal, much better. So I think she should try and maintain that. And if possible, also where there are opportunities to increase, you can always increase it.
All right, so that's all for Meghna Verma. Let's take Pratibha's question now. And Anil, SBI Blue Chip, she has in a portfolio Parag Parikh Flexi Cap, Kotak Emerging, Quant Small Cap, UTI Small Cap. Total SIP is almost 15,000 per month, and investment valuation so far portfolio is 3.20. 10 years time horizon, total target is 80 lakhs.
Yeah, so I think one of the funds that one needs to be a little cautious about is the quant. Okay, so it's also a much higher risk type of fund, and also if you see, the ability to exit in case of a larger fall is something, that one needs to be cautious about. But I think that's the only maybe small change that I would suggest out there. Yes, she should be able to, achieve her, requirement over the 10 years. Okay, and possibly she could also look to see whether she can step it up, because I believe that over a period of time she'll have to actually, plan for inflation, and I think she's underestimating that a little bit. So step ups as possible, I think, and more aggressive can help her, bridge any gaps that are coming up from inflation.
Right, let's take Amit's question. Do you have this question with you, Anil?
Yeah, I had this question with me. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So he says that he's 38 years old and monthly SIP 1 lakh that he started since 2024 now. And every year the plan is to step up the SIP by 10%. And the question is, he's asking, should I add small cap fund, which could be a Quant, Nippon or a Kotak for mid or long term, approximate time frame is 7 to 8 years, and can he do an SIP of 15,000 in this? Are they high risk fund, and would that be a good strategy to add a thematic fund and invest 10,000 via SIP in Quantamental Fund? So let's begin with Quantamental Fund. What's the whole strategy and philosophy of this fund? What kind of a fund is this?
Yeah, so quant itself is sort of a, quant fund house, and I think, so a lot of the funds are based on their quantitative models, right? So at the same time, at this point of time, many of their funds have uh, taken a slightly higher level of risk. So I would believe, to take a bit of a pause, I would like to see, some of the recovery and how, their funds play out over the next 2 or 3 years. Okay, and from that standpoint, I would, prefer not to, be there. So in fact, one of the fund that one has is the quant active fund, which actually, I would suggest one exits, and maybe HDFC multi-cap is something, that one can look at. And on the other hand, the UTI Nifty 200 momentum 30, one can replace with, say, ICICI large. Uh, so that is something that, sorry, ICICI large and mid. So these are two changes I would suggest from here. Yes, if one is looking at adding a small cap fund, then I think a Nippon small cap is definitely something that one can look at.
All right, I think that'll be all for today. Anil, thank you so much for taking time out and helping our viewers with their financial portfolio queries. And on that note, I'm going to sign off and leave our viewers with our WhatsApp number and email ID. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.